There are two sides to every story, and in the stunning Netflix original, The OA, they present themselves mostly between two people, Prairie and Hap, the medium and the engineer, the OA and her shadow, spirituality and science. Throughout the show's 2 seasons, we're invited to wander through a variety of perspectives on life, passion, pain, and progress as we follow our heroine, the OA, sometimes Prairie Johnson, sometimes Nina Azarova, and the people she meets who unwittingly become parts of the puzzle. But what are the morals of the OA as a show itself? How does it portray its lofty subject matter, and how do its characters get their messages across? How are we as an audience affected by and integral to the story? And most importantly, can the ethics of science and spirituality coexist? Initially, I want to kind of name science and spirituality as these opposing conceptual forces, with Hap as the figure of science and OA as the figure of spirituality. Science is experimentation, rationale. It's blue, it's cold, it's clinical. Spirituality is exploration, abstraction, red, warm, and as open-hearted as it is open-minded. Because the show is so focused on and promoting of spirituality as a whole, I'm going to take more time to expand on Hap's side. Hap understands science as an overarching measure of control, physically, emotionally, in his work, heart, and mind. But, like in most cases, that need for control comes from fear and from jealousy. Throughout the OA, there's divine knowledge one can't quantify or rationalize that's only shown to those who can prove themselves. Hap sees it, but needs to hold it in his hands and call it his, which is where he ultimately fails. It's funny to think about how progressive Hap is from a scientific standpoint, though, when we see his colleague and how his ideas still seem crazy to Leon, even though he's got people captured going to other dimensions too. But where do science and spirituality fundamentally intersect? Belief.
I'm the OA.
Whether it's a belief in a higher power like God or string theory, wanting proof in fate or the Big Bang, it requires belief, faith, and perseverance to find what you're looking for. Belief is the #1 tenet of the OA. The show holds a belief in belief. The need to
Believe in impossible things
is one that every character, no matter what the timeline or dimension, grapples with, and it's one the show forces us to grapple with as well. Did you believe OA had made it to the other side at the end of season 1? Did you believe her story was true when French had doubt? Do you still believe the show will come back? And what makes you feel that way? Where science differs is in its need to quantify proof of belief, but that need for a sign is there just the same. The OA believes the best signs are the ones that are fleeting and ephemeral, that leave you with more questions than answers, which funnily enough the show believes is a better way to create fiction as well. Even Hap has experienced and integrated those signs into his invisible self, whether it was the first whoosh he heard in the ER, or the story he tells OA in probably my favorite monologue of his.
No human being had ever run a mile in under 4 minutes. It was thought that was the limits of human speed. And then one day, an Englishman did it in 3:59. That was it. 6 weeks later, someone else did it, and another. Now, a strong high schooler can do it. It's our inability to conceive of things that holds us back.
He can see the power of belief here is truly magical, but rationalizes it to the safer science of psychology. Whereas it feels like pure magic when Homer gets Prairie to push her limits and stretch her arm.
Think of your shoulder like it's putty. It can stretch. Just relax and grow your arm.
If we know then how evil not only Hap himself, but the systems that pathologize and medicate the spiritually conscious are, why do we keep coming back to stories where they play an integral role? Why are so many of us interested in stories about experimentation? Not only the OA, but Stranger Things, Dark, Umbrella Academy, even media for younger kids like Maximum Ride or The Maze Runner. My thought is that we can have our cake and eat it too. We can witness these stories with an omniscient perspective, seeing both the information gained by the oppressors while empathizing with the oppressed. on top of the fact that many types of marginalized people feel similarly poked and prodded by society, but we'll put a pin in that for now. The real question is, can we truly be a neutral party? Or are we complicit in the actions of these intellectual villains while aligning ourselves with the heroes? There's passion and drive on every side, as well as people willing to do whatever it is they think they need to do to succeed. And the OA is constantly asking us to think of the moral conundrum of unethical progress. What does it mean to hurt a few to get answers for many? What does it mean that progress is built on the backs of the sick and marginalized? Who gets to decide when it's justified? But at the same time, where would we be without unethical advancements in basically every single field of science? Would the OA have learned she was an angel if she didn't suffer? Would any of us? These types of moral quandaries are unanswerable, as they should be. If they weren't, we'd be searching to quantify the unquantifiable, and we've already learned that's a mistake. But there's one thing that keeps coming to mind for me here. It's yin and yang, isn't it? Yin and yang is an ancient symbol of balance, one which we've built on throughout time, understanding we need to become whole with all parts of ourselves to fit in the right ways with others and live fulfillingly. Yin and yang is an integration of sorts, a core concept of the show. The juxtaposition and blurring of light and dark, the visible and invisible self, etc. That between the black and the white, there's gray. OA and Hap become not only competitors, but are mirrors of one another. There's dark in OA and light in Hap. The fact that he sees good in her and values curiosity, he thinks he's doing good all the time. Everyone is a living, walking yin and yang as we watch everyone else's levels of dark and light change. Elodie, the enigmatic traveler and spiritual conduit to Hap and OA, is the first person to really call OA out.
You need Hap. He's your shadow. Who has no shadow has no will to live.
I have plenty of will to live, and it doesn't come from him.
I'm a creature of balance. But I think you're too stubborn to receive it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Elodie sees her stubbornness and can look further and deeper to the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is for her. And it's an incredibly hard pill to swallow, being told you're universally connected to your abuser. But that truth is real, and OA had to face it. Regardless of her nesting doll situation with Nina, we see a new side of OA in the second dimension. She's conniving and sly with Karim in a way she's never been before with an ally. Even the OA has to manipulate people and do morally wrong things to further her cause. She even uses similar tactics to her abuser when attacking then soothing Steve's dog. But that encounter with the dog brings up another motive of OA's violence and manipulation, one that Hap and his scientific other could never understand: retaliation. The majority of OA's questionable actions result from either a direct or indirect act of self-defense, skills she's learned over the years of being taken advantage of by all the wrong people. Like she says to Hap,
I was pressed down like coal. I suffered. That's what an angel is. Dust pressed into a diamond by the weight of this world.
with that weight and that pressure comes more than just beauty. It comes with an awareness of your lack of limits to fight tooth and nail by any means necessary for survival. To build on this idea of yin and yang, we see the ways different characters have utilized the systems that oppress them, and the knowledge they hold to their spiritual advantage. Think Elias Rahim, Elodie, Karim's murky history with the FBI, how Nina Azarova's complicity in the corruption of the house brings the OA and Karim together and gives them the pieces of the puzzle they need to move forward. Even how the Haptives use Hap's methods of capture and experimentation against him by gathering the information they need to travel in both the mine and the hospital. It's important to say utilizing the system in this way can't come from those in power, as the system was created to utilize the people it marginalizes in the first place. Think Robin Hood versus Jordan Belfort. And it's interesting to note how the system can be turned in one's favor by using not just spirituality, but science too. Without rational planning and execution, these lofty, fundamentally irrational ideas couldn't be put into place. How many times did the Haptives tweak and redo their experiments? Or Karim's off-the-book but sharply deductive investigative skills? Or even the OA's plans to get the 5 boys to work and listen to her? But ultimately, the OA shows us the integration of both science and spirituality is the way.
We have faith.
Holistically using all facets of knowledge, feeling, community, understanding, and love to your advantage for the greater good of those around you. The OA proves time and time again she can make the hard choices and stick to them. Think back to her first conversation with BBA.
If you want to do your job, expel the bully. Focus on the kid who sings like an angel even though he doesn't need you. If you want to be a teacher, teach Steve. He's the boy you can help become a man. He's the one you lost. He's your first reason.
But Hap never fully makes that jump, choosing to live in the worlds and beliefs that are easy. Whereas OA's integration with Nina is the final nail in the coffin that she can face anything and make a change. It's not a coincidence that science and spirituality have been intrinsically connected since their inception, as well as the fact that many scientists are not only spiritual or religious themselves, but find connections between them the more science they study. Nothing in this world is mutually exclusive, everything is gray, and the OA makes us attack that notion head on. So to answer my previous question about complicity, I'll pose another question. Even if we are, is it a bad thing? Isn't that then the audience's version of utilizing the system? Gaining knowledge from each side to help further the cause? How can we conceptualize light without dark, good without evil, abstraction without rationalization? We deserve to see stories not only about pain, but what comes out the other end, as well as worlds where we can explore empathizing with the perceived enemy in a safe, controlled, and fictional space. And in doing so, we learn there were never just 2 sides of the story all along. There are infinite sides. Thank you so much for watching this video. Ever since I watched the OA, I knew it was ripe with video essay content. It's actually funny that this is my shortest video so far, but at some point I'll be back with more OA video essay content. And hopefully it'll be about OA Season 3, A Boy Can Dream. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this, and I'll see you next time.